Hi guys, how you doing?
Hey guys.
Nice to meet you all. Thank you for welcome to Miami, and we'll tell you a bit about Black Sheep. So, my buddy Eirik and I were roommates in college together, and we loved coffee. And then we went our separate ways into office jobs, but got talking, and eventually agreed to quit our jobs on the same day, move to London, and start a coffee company together. And so we had no money, so we had a little trestle table that we. Oh, sorry. There you go. That was the trestle table that we rolled out into market stalls and started selling coffee. And so, you know, just like Greg when he was going to school in Nigeria, we had to figure out how do we make money also, because we had to pay rent. And so that was a process that took a while. And so I like what Tarek was saying earlier, that a franchise model is also a part of an iconic brand that's been trial and tested, because franchise partners don't buy a logo. They buy a track record of profitability and a product range that's been trialed and tested. And so we only started franchising when we had 50 shops of our own. So fast forward a few years, we're the fourth largest coffee company in the UK. We're in the Middle East as well, Dubai, Abu Dhabi. And now we're out here in the US, entering the US in a really big way. We've got shops in Texas. We're opening in Miami in just a few weeks. And just like in the UK, we're going to be in every city and every town in the United States. And that's also why, today is a really, really exciting time to join the network. And I'll let Eirik explain why in more detail. But that's kind of our story in a nutshell.
Yeah, so I think you hear the term bootstrap beginnings thrown around a lot, but our story, it doesn't get more bootstrap. We didn't even have a name when we quit our jobs and got started in London. We always thought we wanted to build something big and with big reach globally, but we did want to make all the mistakes and feel like what we were taking out to franchise partners was really tried and tested. So today we have, in the UK initially, opened 50 shops, and since then franchising is now the growth engine for the network. We've been through a lot of innovations on the product range, which started with just trestle table serving coffee, and then we added the Norwegian waffles that you can see in the middle, that you can only get at Black Sheep Coffee, and that are now served from Dallas to Dubai across all the stores globally. We've been building out the concept and the range, and the playbook, and the manuals, and the processes, and all the support functions, so that franchisees coming on board with Black Sheep today, while it's great to have experience in business and experience hiring teams and a passion for hospitality, we like to think that you can come to Black Sheep and it's a turnkey model, and the thing that matters is really that you love serving customers and you love working with people, and you have a relentless pursuit of operational excellence, customer service.
There you go.
Just maybe the previous one, just a couple of points on the store model. So so we're very technology enabled, but it's been important for us to remember that we're a coffee company first and foremost, and we're about great products. But of course, things like the self-order kiosks help speed things up. So in Dallas, we do 2.5-minute serving times in our drive-through. Like, we care a lot about tracking all of that data and then making it available for franchisees, so that we can really compete with and win market share from the large incumbents from the 90s and early 2000s. Our plan in the US is really US-wide, but initially we're focusing on the Sun Belt in particular, and we opened our first shops in Texas last year, in East Mockingbird Lane, in Grapevine, in Plano. We've got a pipeline now in Austin and Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Ventura, Doral Marketplace. We've got our first wave of partners who've come on board, and we both moved there permanently with our wives and kids and family, and picked Florida as the base for the US. So, you know, that's pros and cons with being a Florida-based franchisee. You'll be very, very, very closely supported. But we think it's an incredible time to come on board, and yeah, you gotta be quick.
Yeah. And I would say we live in Miami, but we still spend a lot of our time traveling to all the coffee plantations to find the best beans in the world. That's really our commitment to customers. We launched our now famous Robusta Revival in a world that was completely dominated by 100% Arabica. We launched the first 100% Robusta coffee of specialty grade. And that's how Black Sheep was born. Because Black Sheep is about doing things differently, challenging the status quo, and if you see everybody doing something and you don't think it makes sense, to do something different. And so here we are, and if you have any questions, feel free to.
We do have questions.
Yeah.
But we're going to need one mic, so you guys just share mic.
There you go.
Thanks.
You can go first. Hey, thanks you guys. It's a beautiful story, very inspiring. A couple questions on the real estate side. What is your guys' process in the US? And then more uniquely, how do you guys handle the real estate process in Dubai or overseas?
Yeah. And I think that's a really great question because real estate is key. You can have the best coffee in the world and a bad location and you will lose money. And you can have terrible coffee in the best location and you'll probably still make it work. So it's really, really important to identify the right location. We've got Mike here in the room over there who just joined us from Dutch Bros, and he was heading the real estate over there, and he now works at Black Sheep. And he helps our franchise partners make sure that they only open killer sites. You know, very often, we made tons of mistakes when we started the company, and you look for a cheap deal on rent because you think, you know, it's intimidating to pay a $500,000 rent somewhere. And then you find out that there's always a reason why rent is so high somewhere. It's because it's the best location. And at Black Sheep, we only open tier 1 AAA location. We want the best location in town everywhere we go. And we'll make sure that you don't open anywhere that's not perfect for Black Sheep. So I would say I really encourage anyone to have a chat with Mike after this. But yeah, we have obviously a process. We've got software. We look at, it's very data-driven decisions, particularly in the US, which is primarily a car-driven market. So you get a lot of traffic data that you look at, average disposable income, and, you know, competitors' performance in and around that particular location.
Yeah, so when I was a franchisee, I had a location in California where the franchisor had the primary base of their franchisees. There was a lot of locations in California. And then I had another location in Florida, and there was only maybe, you know, 3 or 4 stores there. And what I hadn't thought about is it made the supply chain pretty tricky. Number one, I had a different distributor down in Florida. And then some of the pricing was higher down there just because there was no pricing power with being one of only 3 locations. And then some of our products weren't available. None of the ones that were proprietary, but I'm just curious, you guys are all over the world, opening up over the US. How do you navigate some of the supply chain, you know, challenges and while keeping consistency across the brand and prices low for franchisees?
I think it's also a really good question, and the way we think about that in all markets historically has been when we go into a new city, we need to build a fortress because you get synergies from that. You build your presence in the market, you're better known, you get logistics synergies, and you get ultimately better consistency, better prices. In all of our markets today, we have like nationwide distribution agreements. We negotiate with every supplier on behalf of the whole network. So our franchisees take part, whether it's the fees to the delivery aggregator of DoorDash or Uber Eats, or it's the price of milk. We'll manage that on behalf of the network, so the franchisee can be giving us ruthless feedback if they're unhappy, and that's part of the beauty of franchising, that you're held accountable. If our model has some inefficiencies or flaws like that, well, then we're not going to open more sites, we're not going to find new partners. So that's kind of how we look at it. You need to definitely buy into this being, a big opportunity for both of us as partners. But yeah, so initial focus is very much on Florida and Texas. So for anyone in this market today, I would say that's less of a risk.
I learned about your brand a few hours ago, and I completely fell in love with the brand for just one reason: your support with the homeless. Can you share more information with us, please?
Jeff, of course. So, you start businesses in life, and we talked about making money earlier, and it's important. But if you can make